Okay, so welcome. This is going to be a little bit of a different stream. I'm going to try just doing working on some letter writing, and I thought while I was doing it, I will just let the stream go. A little bit of typewriter sound, a little bit of writing sound, and I'll be able to see chat and answer questions. So, if you're able to hop on, welcome. If you're new, do my channel is mostly pens and stationery, but today it is going to be letter writing and some vintage typewriters. Let me get the camera switched over. And it's not going to be really the normal face view. We're going to have kind of a side desk view where you can see the typewriter. And then as I'm writing letters, they'll be right here where you can see this. Hey, Lydia, welcome. Just going to be doing some letter writing and typing here. Just thought I'd have the stream going. And then I also have this angle here. And this kind of shows just when I'm doing the actual writing of letters versus typing, it'll show a little bit different. So hopefully the audio is coming through. I added my other microphone over here by the typewriter, and it should pick up the typing sounds well and everything like that. So I'm just going to get started here, and feel free to pop any questions in the chat. And yeah, and if you want to receive a letter, in the video description there is a link for a Google form where you can submit your address. And anybody who submits, I'm doing my best to write them back a letter. And that's kind of how it's going. So I'm going to get started here. I'm using some of the stationery I picked up and showed in the last stream. So if you haven't seen that, you can see the on-demand video on it. So this will be the first time trying to type on some of this Crown Mill. And I'm using my 1940 Royal KMM vintage desktop typewriter. And Lydia, I think you're still in here possibly. How's the typing sound coming through? Just out of curiosity, is it picking up well enough where it has like the good sound, but not too loud or too soft? Hey, Dong, thank you. Just doing some letter writing here between fountain pens on stationery and some vintage typewriter along the way. So thanks for popping in for a bit. So, Lydia, I've done the laconic where I've typed in all the address fields. I haven't done much with those yet, but our local pen club, we have a Discord thing coming up where people are talking about their planner plans for 2026. So I might play around with some other inserts, but they'll, if nothing else, I have to do February through December of 2026, typing in all of the inserts for the undated laconic. Get caught up on the chat here. I had the address up. Let's see. Found a pack of A5 Kokuyo paper. I've really been liking the Life Bank paper. It's what I've been using a lot, Lydia. And then this is the first time trying this Crown Mill, but the Life Bank has been great. I have some other Kokuyo paper in a notebook. I'll have to rip a sheet out and try that and see. Hey, Ann, glad you maybe were able to pop in for a bit. Yeah, I did some garage organizing this morning, making way for the future lathe delivery from Mr. Nick Pasquale, which, if everything goes as planned, will be next Sunday. But we will see how that goes. And good luck on your hunt if you join the typewriter fold, depending on how people get back to you. That would be fun, especially the one with the German keyboard, to try and type letters with the missing letters and add in the occasional umlaut, just because. I think that would be fun. So I think this envelope is going to be a sacrificial envelope because I indented over too far for my margins, and I misspelled the street name, and I didn't leave enough room for the zip code. So as much as I hate to sacrifice one of the nice Crown Mill, it's going to have to happen, and we'll go to a normal Crown Mill A5 envelope to make up for that, which I guess I should have gotten some of these out beforehand. Yeah, and it'll be interesting because in looking at the picture you were showing of the German keyboard, I know it has the umlauts and it's not a QWERTY, it's a QWERT Z. But does it have every other letter, or is it just, do the umlauted, is that the proper plural of that? Do the umlauted letters take place of some of the other? I didn't look that closely. I know that the German typewriters are out there, and then there's also some in the Dvorak layout and things like that. But I even saw on scrolling through one of the typewriter Facebook groups the other day, because why would I not be doing that? And there was one that had a Chinese keyboard, which looked interesting. And then, of course, there's the ones that are all the type slugs are music notes and music notation. I would love just to play with one of those. I don't think I'd want to own it because I don't really do much music anymore. But that would just be fun to try and... Yeah, there you go. You become the best Motorhead typist on this side of, I guess you'd be on the other side of the Mississippi. But, the point remains. So let's see if I can type this envelope and not mess it up. Now, when I do this, I'm not going to see chat for this next couple of bits. Well, actually, maybe I can rearrange this around a little bit. I'm trying to do this, use the iPad as an extra monitor over here. And can I pop the chat out? I can. Okay. Oh, wow, that's a lot bigger text. Then can I see my address that I need here at the same time? I can, so I can make this work since I know which line it is. Okay. So let's try this again. And hopefully not mess up this time. Lydia, do you ever type envelopes? And if so, do you fight with getting everything on there, or should I just give up the typing and handwrite it? I've done a couple of successful envelopes. I think both of you have received one, but it's definitely a different learning curve to get everything spaced correctly. You should try one, Lydia. It is, for what I'm doing with how the margin's set for the paper, I'm having to roll the envelope in, release my margin release, and go back 3 spaces, and then type my return address. I don't know, hopefully it resumes itself. Okay, the address is a little high, but it's all spelled correctly and it fits, so we're going to go with that. Let me get over here so I can make sure, see what I'm seeing on the stream. Let me switch over to the other view here as I'm doing this part. I will say it's very different not having the normal monitor where I can see how stuff is going. So it's a good experiment, but it's definitely different. So fold that there. And this crown mill, by the way, this is the first time really writing on it. It worked great with the typewriter. You can see the texture of the paper, which is extra cool. And then making sure it did change because it's not showing on my little monitor here. And seems to be pretty fountain pen resilient. There's a couple of the dots that, like where I'm starting the letters, it looks like. So the initial pin press to the letter where it's got a little bit of more show through, but still behaved really well. And as I mentioned on the stream the other night, having A5 actual envelopes for A5 paper, game changer. I have noticed I wrote a couple of things because these have like the little liner in there of the inset envelope. The paper will catch on that inner liner, so you have to kind of make sure it's that inside there that you can't actually see, which is very handy. I did not get any brushes. I got a can of compressed air, and I haven't done all that much cleaning on them yet. Lydia has a video, actually, she referred me to on her YouTube about using mineral spirits to clean one out. So at some point, I'm going to take all of these out and give them some proper aftercare. But at this point, they're functional. And I'm kind of going with that so I don't try and do too much too quick. I don't want to run into that. So get out the glue stick and go with the blue washi. And I did pick up yesterday, not that I can send to everybody, the curse word washi. I got a restock of that from Gentleman Stationer because I find it funny. But obviously that's not appropriate for everybody. I put on the form if you don't mind that, let me know. And there was somebody who said they want their mailman to go crazy, so have at it with whatever. So that could be a fun envelope once I get to that one. And it's going to Alaska. That adds to the fun of, will it make it to Alaska? Will any washi tape I've stuck on it survive? So that's when I'll have to put in the letter. Send a picture of, you know, how this survived, just out of curiosity. As you can see there, I'm just doing basic washi on the back. And yeah. Oh, I got to do a stamp. So for this one, go with a sea turtle, because that was the one on top. And I do need to order some more stamps, because now that I'm actually writing on a somewhat consistent basis, you can see this is already 9 gone off of this sheet, and some of the other sheets are, you know, showing visible spaces as well. So that's something I'll do that on a future stream, of getting crowdsourced stamp selections of which ones I should get, because there's all the special editions, and you know, since I got these, the prices have already gone up, so they're further up on the together or the forever price. So okay, let me get this line marked off here. If I can get my window to show me the end of the row. And this is just the sheet that the Google form puts stuff out to, so that way I was able to keep track of, make sure that everybody who put their name on there received a letter. Now, both Lydia and Anne, I already had your addresses, so I had already sent some letters, so you already got your typewritten letters. Beforehand, y'all were like beta testers essentially, but glad to hear that those made it. So let me, okay, try and get multiple windows. Why is this showing the text so massive in that window? Okay, we'll make it work. Okay. I'll do this next one on, I'll do it on the regular crown mill paper I got, just to play with one of those sheets. And these are on a tablet, so you can just rip the pages off. So that's kind of fun. And then just use the same A5 crown mill envelopes. And I did see at Gentleman Stationery yesterday that I don't know that I'd have a good use for them, but apparently this crown mill also comes in pink and possibly a bluish tint as well. So I might end up, next time I need a restock, picking some up from there or at it, because I don't think Vanessa had the pink and the bluish. So it's great that both of the stores I frequently shop at have a little bit different options, so I can support both. Okay, so, well, I do like, this is nice. So the camera's not really showing that, but this comes with a lined guide sheet as the first sheet, so you can rip that off and put it underneath your paper if you're handwriting, which I actually already have one here on the desk that I use from the Yoseka. So George, how you doing? This right here was your letter. So I just finished typing yours, and you got a second envelope because the typewriter created spelling errors, but that'll go out, should, in tomorrow's mail. So you will have a letter coming your way. And hopefully you're enjoying that new pen you picked up yesterday. I saw the pictures, and it's a great compliment to your Mont Blanc. So hopefully, let's see, is there a certain side of this paper? So I assume with this, we'd want to write on the textured side. We'll go with that. Or in this case, type on the textured side and also write. Okay. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky, at least with this typewriter. This thing is so heavy that the body does not shift at all when using it. Some of these others, as I haven't put as much time on them, they kind of move a little bit, so it's not as easy to do proper typing. And even on this, I'm doing proper-ish, where I'm having to do a little bit of hunt and peck to be sure I don't misspell things, especially on the envelopes. Which, when I misspelled your street name, it's because I was looking over at the street name instead of the keyboard for that one. So it was bound to happen at some point. So, and on some of these letters, I have been like typing half and then writing the second half just to have both of those in there. Cause I think, you know, as I am mainly a pen related channel, it would be silly to type it all. So or my theory is that's a good happy medium of the two, is like typing half and then writing the second half. And then I am on the bottom of the letters putting which typewriter I'm using as well as which pen and ink. So that adds a little bit of variety to the letters. And I will say, if you have one of these, and I know the camera angle is not going to show it the best here, but a grid undersheet, it works really well with typewriters because the line of typing, at least with the size of the typeface on this, fits perfectly in the grid, so I can truly line it up and then continue writing um, with the similar line spacing. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, I had a Commodore, but I got it a couple years like older. and but we had an Apple II. My mom was an English teacher, and she had a lab of Apple IIs, so we had one at the house. So that's why I never used a typewriter as a kid. Is I would do all my school papers on the Apple II and then print it on the dot matrix printer. Yeah, the Apple II was classic because I used ClarisWorks when typing my papers, and we had Oregon Trail. And since the one we had dual floppy drives, so I didn't have to flip the disk over, I could just tell it to go to drive two. So that was a very cool feature as to not delay the ongoing Oregon Trail experience. Um, oh man, Wolfenstein! I haven't thought about that game in ages. So a note on this crown mill paper: this nib I'm writing with is normally very buttery smooth, and writing on the texture of this paper is just an odd writing experience. Not bad, just very different. I'm used to this pen sliding across the line, and it's almost like, think of one of your smoothest nibs and then combine it with a sailor. It's kind of like that. So it's getting a different type of scratch at the same time. So, oh, and I just noticed my chat had switched from live to top. So make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, I think I can see everything there. Yeah, definitely a different setup, but it's just interesting for this Newton pen that was gliding so well to just have such a different feeling on this crown mill paper. Okay, and then as I glance over to my other chat, I realize it has also gone to top. So let me get that switched to live as well. So if I glance over, I can be sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Hey, John, good to see you. Here in a second, I will try and I picked up an accessory that you referenced that I think you might like. I got it from Finesse. It's the May pouch that fits in a 6-ring notebook, and it's single side and it doesn't go on both sides. So I'll pull it and show it to you here in a second. Since you're on here, I just got that delivered yesterday and put it in the A5 plotter. Okay. Okay, let me get this envelope typed up and then I'll try and switch over to the other side. And this will be a good test as well because I have my other microphone over there that I normally use. So in theory, I should just be able to get it in the right position and switch over to that one. So we'll test that because why not? And I'll switch over to the better typing camera. Okay. Get my addresses up here. Okay, something just went screwy on the typewriter there. It rolled. Ugh. Okay, we'll just do this. I'm going to handwrite this one because I don't know why that rolled and I don't want to burn through a bunch of envelopes. So we'll switch back to handwriting. Now I have been, when doing the handwriting, if I'm on these envelopes, going with a permanent ink. So get a different pen out here. And make sure I'm on the, I think this is the one that I want. Does this one, yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, get this sealed up and then I'll hop over and I can show that new Raymay A5 insert, because I know actually a lot of names I recognize in chat are either Plotter or Me Plus users and have the A5, so this will be beneficial to hopefully a few of you, because if you saw my first Plotter video, I got the Plotter insert and I like it. I like the idea of it. I don't like how it's done though, because it did not work all that well for me, in that it was too squishy when trying to write. So this new one I can put just under the front side of the envelope, or the envelope. You can tell I'm filling an envelope. I can put it under on the front side of the notebook, either the Me Plus or the Plotter, and then I can not have to worry about the writing, because most of my writing is on the normal side of the sheet and it's so thin it's not even an issue. Now I did just get it, so that could become an issue, but it's already, first impression, much better. Some washi here. And another sea turtle. This one is going to be a loggerhead. And putting it on the front of the envelope versus the back is beneficial. Okay, so that's 2. So I'm gonna need to take my mouse with me. Let me see. How can I? Let me see if I can switch this around and see what I'm looking for over there. Sorry, I didn't think about. There we go. So let me roll over. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me now. Let me know if you can. And then I can show this other thing here. And I'm going to turn off my little prompter camera up in the corner because I do not have that on right now. So let me do that. Do that. That. And that. There we go. Okay, so my A5 Shiranami. And this is what it is. It is a single thin envelope that fits perfectly in the rings. And you can see all I have in there is just a Dory ruler, because I've bought multiple rulers now because I keep losing them. So that way this one in theory should stay in that spot. But you can see how much better that is, because even if you fold over, you know, now that I have this, oh, I just opened my rings because that band was caught. I haven't done that before. So of course it'll happen on a live stream. Let's get these put back in there. And I think I'm a little bit at the capacity of the rings. I just put some new paper in here that I also got some Raymay grid paper to test. I think I put a few too many sheets, but I had more stuff in here with it being a pin weekend at Gentleman Stationer than I normally would. But you can see that aside, that's not as squishy. So John, I don't know if that shows you well enough, but that that was at Vanessa. It's a Raymay is the brand, Raymay. Let me see if I can find it on their site. And if I can, I'll throw a link at the chat here. And hopefully they have some in stock still, because hopefully I didn't buy the last one, because I feel bad about talking about it. And they also do have other, let's see, that's the pocket size. Here we go. And it's $12 on Vanessa, and I think the discount code DWRDNet would save you 10% on this one. I don't know what all items. Let me drop this in the chat. And I can't drop it in the chat there, so let me figure out where I can drop it in the chat. This is all very different when doing multiple windows. Okay, well, let me paste it over there either. So give me a second. Oh, gotta love technology. There we go. I think I can paste it there. Paste and send. There you go. So that's this Raymay single pouch thing that I think is going to be the answer, because I have missed the pouch because I wanted to keep some stamps in here or a couple of stickers, something like that that's small that wouldn't be in the way. And I think this is going to be that solution for that, because it's the single side. I kind of get what Plotter's going for, but on the small rings, it takes up even more ring space. So that's kind of counterproductive, at least for me, in terms of what I would want to be using. So, but yeah, I'm glad you popped on because I think that was what you were describing. It's not the both side, but I think, versus having to modify the other one to make it fit on the larger rings. And I believe that Me Plus had something similar as well, like a pocket, from looking at their website, but I don't have that pulled up. But that's another site you might look at for something similar, because it seems like, and I was not fully aware of this, that Plotter in the US is somewhat of the copycat of a lot of other companies in Japan. Plotter is just the first one that brought it to the States. So that's why it seems like the full original, but it's not necessarily accurate. So there are a lot of other brands and options. It's just my YouTube channel name, DWRDNet. And that should apply for many items. It's not everything, but... And then the other thing that I got that is kind of quirky, but kind of cool in terms of punching my own paper. Now, am I going to keep this in the rings on my binder? No. Is that what it's designed for? Yes. But if I need to do like a single sheet or something, and I actually have it here, I can show. This is the single. You could probably do 1 or 2 sheets, but this is like the manual hole punch. So if you want to do A5, you slide that out and you line it up on this corner. If you want to do Bible size, you line it up on this corner here and you leave that in. So it's got little markers here of where the things need to line up, like where the end goes. So it's just a quirky little thing. And then this back one is for doing like the personal that has the 6 rings that are all next to each other. So Plotter released it wasn't Klein. It was I want to say the Chad or something like that version of something that was pretty much very similar to this recently, but it had 2 pieces where you had to have the paper thing and then the other. This I kind of liked, and this is something I could keep with me in my bag. So if I have something I need to punch when I'm out and about, I'm not going to take a normal 3-hole punch with me. This is small enough and light enough, being pretty much all plastic except for the actual little punch parts, to leave like in the outer pocket of my rickshaw bag or in my laptop bag. So that was kind of the thought on that, and just to play around with the hole spacing, because the more I've gotten into using these ring bound systems, the backspace on the paper has become something I've really become aware of, because like the Laconic inserts that I use for my calendar, I have to go back and double punch those, and all it does is inset the hole by maybe 2 millimeters. But that 2 millimeter makes a big difference when turning pages in a fairly full 11 millimeter ring, at least from what I've found. So all that being said, I am going to pop back over to the other setup and continue on with the letter writing. And what did I do here? So let me figure out where this other missing button is that I apparently moved the other day. So I'll switch to this and then turn off one mic, turn on the other, and I'll be back momentarily. Okay, so you should hear me now, and let's get the camera view back. Okay, so let's get this name marked off the list here. And just a reminder, if you would like to receive a letter, either typed or written, there's a link in the video description where you can send an address through a Google form. And then that's what I was doing today, was just trying to get through some more of those letters that I hadn't gotten to yet. So I thought I'd throw the stream on, and since I had a second microphone, I thought I'd put one over here and see if I could get the kind of 2 stations set up somewhat productive, so that I could do this and have the kind of background co-working ASMR type vibe happening while working on some of this, because some people find this interesting and it's stuff they're using, and seeing how other people do stuff is part of the fun for me, is learning, could I be doing this differently? What do what are they doing? What's that? Oh, they're doing that with their typewriter. Oh, they're doing this with their insert. So they're writing. So it's pretty cool. So let's see who's next on the list here. Okay, the instructions here are: get weird with the titles. I'm trying to make my postman's day. So I guess this is the one that we're going crazy with. So it's definitely going to get the curse word washi tape on the back. And yeah, might just handwrite that one because that one sounds like it'd be more fun to do multiple inks in multiple colors. Let's grab some bank paper and do that one. Okay, and switch back to, I think, that camera there so you can kind of see the letter writing part. Let's see, do I have any crazy stickers that could go on this? Since I might have a sticker I could put on the outside of the envelope or something. This is another new thing I got, by the way, this weekend from Vanessa. It was the new Havana Brown writer's bag, and this actually fits my journal, and it has all the stickers of different varieties in here. So see if I can find something. Those probably would not last through the mail. I need something that's a little bit more. Traveler stickers, typewriter stickers, more typewriter stickers. Okay, maybe we'll go with one of the crazy sushi guys, which you can see those, and so I'll put one of those on the outside of the envelope, and then just a little, the outside sushi on the inside. If the outside sushi are actual stickers, which they are not. Okay. So then I'll just save that for the outside of the envelope. Let's do a different pen for this one. I've been using my Newton enough. Let's go with the Skogsy in the micarta, which, if you haven't seen that video, it's from a few weeks ago. It's another pen I've really been enjoying. It's a wider diameter pen, which has been really nice. And let's see, since we're just writing the letter, I can get to where I can see chat at the same time. Yeah, Lydia, I saw that and I was like, oh, I gotta get that. I love sushi, but the little sushi ninja guy, I was like, that's an instant buy. And for most people, if there's something with a cat, that would be their instant buy. Sushi related stuff, like I have sushi related washi now. I have the little ninja guys. I have another thing that's like tiny little sushi and like mini stickers. So big fan of all that. Okay, it's October, and of course the pen wants to have a slow start. Oh, so I've written that one dry. So we're not using the Skogsy. Let's try plan B. We'll go with a darker pen so it'll sit over that O. This is my Opus 88 Omar that has just a regular extra fine nib in it, and then some Teranishi Guitar Gentle Green. and it should get its color shift on this bank paper. And I will say, writing letters to somebody who you've never met and don't really know much about is very different than writing a letter to somebody that you've at least met or know some common interest. So that's been a little bit of the challenging part on some of these of people that I don't recognize the name at all. Just what do you put in a letter like that? So if there's any suggestions of good kind of um, conversation to put in there, because you can't really talk about your local weather, especially if this one's going to Alaska. I'm a little bit lost on that one, but we'll make it do. We'll make do for now. I just thought of some other washing I have that I'll put on the outside of this envelope. I have some that's like confidential and danger or something like that that are really thin that I got in that first finesse order a couple weeks ago now that I picked up when I was in Little Rock last weekend. That could be fun if they want to make their post postal carrier have a double take at the letter. Okay. Well, I gotta write what. Let me put the sticker on. I'm gonna put one of my stickers on the inside of this. And I have been throwing stickers in a lot of these envelopes. I think I've forgotten a couple, or if I know someone's already gotten one, I'm not just throwing a bunch more in there, but I figure that's an extra little fun thing, and got plenty of them sitting around, so this is okay. State map, that works. Yeah, I've seen people before, they'll just like either staple two pages together or just use their glue stick and glue, you know, to the previous page. So it's just kind of an extra thick page turn. But, and I just realized I have left the camera. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. My replay on this is like way behind because it's just showing. Okay. Sorry about that. I thought I had the overhead desk camera still showing when I'm over here doing this envelope and whatnot. Okay, so we need the permanent ink and the address list. And I've also had to make sure that I look at the envelope before writing on it because I have, not in lately, but I have in the past done the envelopes upside down, and I feel silly when I do that. So Okay. Well, I definitely would say this is my first letter I've ever written that is going to Alaska. So that's fun. Yeah, and John, I did that. I wrote it. How's it going, to Jesse? I had written the letter, put the stamp on. I was like, oh, and then I turned it over and I was like, oh, because I hadn't put the contents in. I was writing the envelope before I sealed it, and I was like, well, I've already put the stamp on it. I'll just chalk it up as a happy little accident. Go with the Bob Ross. It's always a proven strategy. Okay, so go with the baby animal sticker for this one, and I'll hold these up. These are fun little stamps. Let's see. I think the baby seal would be the most Alaska appropriate of these. Now let's find some crazy washi tape to go on it at their request. So we're going to have a combination of curse word washi, sushi washi, and then this one says confidential, and then this one says danger warning. So I think that's a great combo of make the postal carrier take a second look. Okay, and I haven't even opened these washis up yet, aside from the curse word washi. And that one's when I think I'm going to have to edit my form a little bit and put on there, do you mind having, or do you want? I guess it'd be better not do you mind. It's probably better people could request to have the curse word washi if they want that versus just sending that out. Because if someone has like, kids getting the mail, that they might not want that being seen. So try and be thoughtful from that aspect. Okay, there's one. Hopefully this is some good ASMR of this opening because it's good plastic ripping while doing the necessary task of getting it open to make a ridiculous envelope. And I don't know if there's any stipulation about putting stuff on the front of the envelope aside from the address. I assume you can, so we'll try it. Subtle, but we'll try it. We'll do like the warning or the confidential one on the front, just let me switch this view over here. There we go. I'll mention again, if you want a letter written to you, there's a link in the video description where you can submit an address to me through the Google form. And once I've sent a letter, I'm going to clear that form out periodically, unless people say they want to have, try and do. My theory is if someone wants regular correspondence, if they write something back, then I'll have the address again from them. And if not, then they can receive their one letter and go about their business. And I am also searching for some good postcards. Just, that's a little bit easier to send out kind of on a whim. So what I'll do is I'll get some of the stuff put on this envelope, and then I'll just throw some washi over this person's name and address, and then I can pull off to actually mail it. And probably putting the letter in the envelope would also be helpful. That's the other thing that I have not done yet, but I could see happening, is getting so caught up in trying to do the envelope that and I don't know about you, but finding the end of some of these washi rolls is quite the challenge. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to put this on the entire bottom of the envelope, and I mean, they did request to make it crazy for their mail carrier. Because nothing says confidential like a baby seal stamp, That really is the quintessential confidential stamping method. Okay, throw a sticker, get the glue stick out. And these Crown or original Crown Mill envelopes do have some adhesive on them, but the glue stick gets that adhesive wet as well. So I've just been doing that on all these. It seems to seal it really well. Because that is the goal. So okay. Put a touch of sushi on here because why not? So this sushi washi is a different texture, so it'd be interesting to see if that makes it to Alaska without having peeled off. Ah, gotcha. I thought that looked like it could be the same count, so that makes more sense. But welcome. Your letter is actually up next, I think, on my list. I'm getting close to being caught up on people who've submitted so far. So okay, so let me put some washi over this name and address area, and I'll show what we ended with for this envelope. Okay, let me switch over to the other side. Okay, so where's this camera at? So we have the warning, and that's coming off right there. Get that on there. So we got warning and confidential, and then the part that says balls will come off because that's where the address is. And then on the back, we have the full variety of the curse word washi and sushi on the sides, because floral, curse word washi, and sushi, and then warning and confidential. I think that's quite the combo that I think any mail carrier is going to go, what the heck is this? Which was what the person asked for. So, I was doing my valid attempt to handle that. So remove this off the address so I don't forget, because that would be awkward to mail it and get a return to sender with all of that on it. The way I'm writing it, you won't have to look away. I am doing a camera angle where it's at a distance, so you don't see the actual writing part. You see that I am writing, but you don't see what I'm writing. So no need to look away. But since you're on here, when I get to the point of putting a stamp on, I will let you to choose if you want Dungeons and Dragons or sea turtles or baby animals. I think those are the only ones I have currently, but one of those. So let me swap back over to the other side and get to writing the next letter. Okay. So far I think this setup where I can kind of go back and forth between the two microphones with my side desk and my main computer desk is working pretty well, so I'm happy for that. Oh, I never did put the crazy sushi guy on there, so maybe that'll have to stay for the next one. So let's get these written ones. Now, Thule, do you have a preference? Do you want some typed letter and some handwritten, all typed? Can answer for that, because on some of these I've been typing half of it and then writing half of it. Some I've been writing all of it, and then some I've typed all of it. So I have every option available, and with you happening to be on the stream, you can make that choice. Okay, mix it up it is. So let's see, which paper do we want to use? Let's use the other Crown Mill, because that was a cool paper. Okay, so this is one of the cooler papers that I got. It's the blue outline original Crown Mill, and then it's got the appropriate inner color envelope. And I already did one letter with this earlier through the typewriter, so I know it'll work with it. So let's do some typing. Okay, get over here. Mark this other one off so I don't forget that I have sent that. Okay. Get the chat window back up. Get a quick sip of water here. Okay. Tuli, do you have a preference on how you'd like your letter to say? I mean, I know your username because you put that in the forum, but then the other. What do you go by in terms of like if someone's writing you a letter? That's the other thing with doing a list like this. Sometimes it's obvious and sometimes it's not. So try to make sure I do all these in the right formatting. And this music right now really sounds like bad elevator music. Coming up on the random stream. So that's different. Let's go with. Gotcha. So the typewriter went a little bit screwy on typing your name, so I apologize, but we'll get that. It like went on the line and then went bloop. So let's see. Okay, we'll move on to the second portion of the letter, which is the handwritten portion. And let's see. Let me make sure this pen is writing. It had a little bit of a leak inside of it. So this is always a fun one to use. Mysteries and untold letters typed and written. Character. Okay, so I'm gonna use one of my pens I haven't used in a while on this. This is my D Squared Arts, the hand carved pen, and it's got the 14 karat extra fine sig in it from Audrey. So, and I don't remember what ink is in here, so hopefully once I write some, I can figure out from the color what I might have put in here, but we will see. Let's see. I am trying to make sure there's the notes field that I'm referencing any notes that anybody put in when doing this. Oh, that's great, Anne. That reminds me, I need to get with Olive Octopus Lisa and see if she wants me to do a run of stickers that we could hand out on some of the sticker stock I have that has the QR code to our Pin Club's website and or Discord. Because it seems like Pin Clubs have to have a Discord these days. That seems to be a really common thing. And honestly, in our local Pin Club here, especially having Gentleman Stationer, we've had 4 or 5 people sign up like yesterday who were pin users, just didn't know the pin club existed. So it's giving a revitalized presence, which is great. And a lot of it, all it takes is just people knowing that it exists, and then realizing that, oh, okay, it's not as awkward as it sounds like it could be. Um, and I did just realize I need to use this pin and nib combo more. I forgot how well I like, or how nice the 14 karat sig nib writes. One of my steel ones is a little scratchy. The other one is fine, but I forgot how much the gold just glides across the paper. Who else is going to their local Pelican hub? I know that San Antonio has one for that Anne's referencing. We have one in Nashville. Lydia, did Little Rock get one, or Thule? Anybody else going to one in your local area? Yeah, next year. Well, with the new distributor, we'll have to see if Pelican hubs happen in the U.S. next year. That could change things, but I think they say you have to have like 8 or 9 people, and I know the Arkansas club has enough people, so maybe it just has to be a coordinated effort to get everybody to sign up to get Little Rock put on the map for one next year. And I remembered what ink is in this pen. This is Edelstein Olivine. Speaking of Pelican hubs, that's the ink I got at the first Pelican hub I ever went to. And it's a good thing I like that ink because it is now all over my fingers. Because I noticed that this pen, I think the converter either slightly came off or something inside of it, so it needs some love, which I'm not going to put it back in the pen case because then I'll forget. I'll put it on the desk. And well, and pen club is not for everybody. Like my wife, our pen club in Nashville meets every week, and that's honestly too much. I go every other week, and she's like maybe a once a month person, which I fully get because that's a lot. Some people, she enjoys using her pens, she enjoys owning her pens, but she doesn't necessarily enjoy them as much as others. And talking about the the intricacies of pens and whatnot, she's more of a user than a collector or anything like that. So there are some pen clubs that is not for everybody. So whenever you get a chance to go down and kind of experiment, and Julie, if I end up with some fingerprints of ink on your letter, I apologize, but it is literally all over my hand. And I don't think it's coming off anytime soon. So we're just going to continue and seal the letter and consider it part of the process. Okay, so we need to do envelope, switch to the document ink. Okay, and get back to where I can see the right address to send this to. One thing I've learned from people who put in for letters, I should look into getting a PO box. A lot of people have PO boxes that I never realized that they were that common for like individuals, which I can fully appreciate. Okay, I wrote the address. I did not misspell anything, so okay, so let's get this letter put in here. Grab a podcast sticker. Throw those in there as well. And then, Julie, do you have a preference of sea turtles, Dungeons and Dragons, or baby animals for a stamp? That makes sense. You know, if terrain makes it easier for you just to go to pick stuff up. I feel like P.O. boxes are one of those things kind of like phone numbers. Like, you know, we've all probably had our phone numbers for how long now. If I would have had one in the past, I probably would have kept it. But then, you know, the one I would have had in the past would have been completely across town from where I live now. So I don't plan on moving anytime soon because moving is terrible. And Beth and I have already decided we're never moving. We don't want to move. So getting, if I were to get one now, that would be a lot easier to deal with. Color coordinate or an accent color stamp. Oh, I know what stamp I'm going to use because it's the most colorful. Forgot I have these. These are the Life Magnified stamps, which are like electron microscope, extreme close up of stuff, and they're all very colorful things. So I'm going to give you the option here. Would you like moss leaves, arranged diatoms, a diving beetle front foot, or moth wing scales? Because those are the most colorful ones on here, I would say. Or moth antenna. That one's also pretty colorful. Forgot I had these. And I have to say, I love being able to write this while the person I'm writing it to is on, to be able to ask and like customize. I kind of love this. So thank you for having the opportunity to pop on, because that makes this even more fun. It's like a choose your own adventure receiving of a letter. And then what washi is going to go best with one of these? What's green, blue, brown are the most vibrant? Okay. Ooh. There's a nice brown mushroom gills. You know what? Let me just roll over to the camera. I'm going to hold this up and let you choose one because that's part of the fun of this. Okay, so you should be able to hear me. Which one of those looks the most appealing? Because there's the brown that, like, you know, on this row here, second from the bottom if you wanted a brown, but colorful, that top left, the mold spores, or the bottom one, you know. So there's some of those that are more colorful, or that freshwater, oh, it's all backwards, but that second row, the one next to that brown one, is probably also one of the more colorful ones. Or if you like a big old green knot in a piece of hair, there's always that. But it is not really, it is colorful, but not multi-colorful. And I know what I'm going to put on the back instead of washi. I'm going to put one of the sushi stickers. That'll be a good seal for the back. Did any of those catch your eye, Thule? Light blue looks like bones. So that is a very good eye. That is actually starling bone tissue. If you're talking about this one here. Oh, sorry about that. That my finger's pointing to. That is starling bone tissue. Okay. You will get some starling bone tissue and then some sort of sushi ninja samurai guy on the back. So let me go back over to that side. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of having these two microphones. That makes this so much easier so that I can be heard and I can have like two workstations. And because that is one thing, I do videos at my desk. I also work at my desk. Having my stationery stuff on this kind of side table is very helpful so that I'm not having to like build up and tear down my desk every time. We're gonna go with the tamago. I think that's what it's. Is that what the sushi, the egg sushi is? Tamago? It's not one that I normally eat, but the sticker is cool. If I can get it unstuck. Okay, so then yeah, it would be the. No, it's not the roe. It's the like scrambled egg. So, Adeline. Am I pronouncing that right? Adeline. Um, and then I'm also going to add, because they thematic, where'd they go? The tiny little sushi stickers. I just got all these new stickers from Vanessa, so I'm like, I need to use them for things. So they're benefiting from needing to buy all the stickers. I don't think the sumo would make it through the mail. Where'd those other ones go? And the good thing is I can show the back of the letter here, because then it's not showing anybody's address. And you'll be able to see the tiny little sushi stickers that I'm going to put on there, because they're funny. Don't have any kawaii. These you'll see these in a second. This is the closest I have. It's of Japanese stickers is the little sushi things, and they're hilarious. And they're tiny little like transparent background stickers. So I'm just gonna put a few on here because I think they're funny and they're cool. And they're sushi themed. So it's just a win all around. I'm trying to add more stickers, so this was a good first start of getting more stickers. But sometimes it's hard, you get lost in scale, because these are a lot smaller than I thought they were when, looking at them. The custard dessert. Go with a hand roll. And we need something top center. the fish. Yeah, we're going with the fish guy. I don't know if he's holding his. Looks like he's holding a fist out. Makes no sense. Actually, we're gonna go with that fish. And then for the final bottom part, we'll go with this little guy. Okay, so give me a second. Okay, so here's what we ended up with because sushi. So we've got a bunch of the. And actually, let me switch to this other camera. This will show. You can see the. Yeah, I love those little stickers. I'm kind of glad that they're small because it's easy to do something like that and just grab a whole bunch of them. And I like that these two little sushi rolls were arguing at each other. That's how they were on the sheet. So I couldn't not put both of them. Or maybe they're waving at each other. It's hard to tell. But I imagine like old man like yelling at the cloud with their arm up. But so let's switch back to which one is it? That one. And switch back over there. And then we get to do another choose your own letter because, and I hope I'm saying this right, Adeline. If that's wrong, give me context clues of how to pronounce it correctly, but you're the next one and my final one on the list at the moment. So I can ask you what options you want, if you want typed or written and whatnot. So let me switch it back over there. Okay, so we got that one. So that goes with the stack of done, wherever that went. Okay, get our work area. Okay, so do you want some typed, all typed, all written, or a combo? Combo meal coming up. We'll use some of this crown mill. Okay, get that on the list of things that are going out. Up there. Okay, so that sheet is stuck to that one, so we're not going to go with that one. We'll go with the next one. There we go. Okay, so put that there, there. Okay, now for the handwritten part. Oh, and thanks for stopping in. Good luck with your cards for your Pelican Hub you're making. I'm sure all of the San Antonio people will be very grateful for that. And let me know if you do obtain the German typewriter, because I think that would be kind of cool. And, just an interesting journey of trying to type for letters you don't necessarily have by substituting accented characters. Hey, Nick. This is the Royal KMM. This is the one from 1940. It's the most reliable and the one that I don't really have to worry with. So since I was trying to stream while also type, and it lives on the desk. So putting the other typewriter up right in this area, where I also need to be doing the handwriting part of the letters, would not work out as well. So this one got the call. Now that doesn't mean that for future ones I might not, with more prep, and now that I've kind of gotten the camera and microphone positionings in place, I could put this one to the side and then put another typewriter up here of the other three that are below the desk right now. But sticking with this one now. So the 1940 Royal KMM, and then the other three are the 1935 Royal Portable, the 1967 Royal Crescent, and the 1964, I think, Royal Ensign as of right now. And who knows, there could always be more typewriters that show up. Nothing that's in the works at the moment, but Facebook Marketplace can be a great place and a terrible place. So fountain pen paper, I've used some of that Krina that I had at the Genoma Stationer event that typed well. I use Life Bank paper was what I started with. I have some of the Yamamoto typewriter paper and some of the Life typewriter paper. Is there a certain paper? Because I could throw a sheet of like Tomoe in or something and try it here in a second after I finish this letter, and we can see what it looks like. Because so far, at least with this typewriter, everything has turned out really well. Envelopes, every paper. So I could definitely try like Tomoe, or I've done use. I might have typed on yu-sari. I don't know if I've done yu-sari yet, but I have that. I've got some Irriful. What else do I have there? Mostly Tomoe, Irriful, plotter paper, and others. So I can definitely throw one in here in a second. Oh, Nick, thanks for becoming the channel member. I really appreciate that. And I'm doing this for all the channel members. So in the video description, drop in your address and you'll get a letter typed / written to you as well. Been doing that as a thank you for everybody. Okay, let's get envelope written here. Oh, I need the document ink for the envelope. Okay. Now there will be some decisions to be made. Okay, Edelnay, what kind of stamp would you like? I've got Sea Turtles, I've got that Life Enlarged, and I've got Dungeons and Dragons and Baby Animals. Dungeons and Dragons, okay. I can do that. Those in there. Get our handy glue stick. Okay. Do you have a preference for someone in a maze, a gnome, a dragon, some sort of big worm thing? Looks like a paladin, or maybe a three-headed dragon, or someone actually fighting a dragon. So we're dragon heavy on here, and then looks like one drow. I'm gonna have to try and track down some D&D themed washi, so if I'm using these stamps, I have something to go on the back. I'll have to put that on my list of stuff to hunt for. Any dragon. Okay. Let's go with that dragon. Very prominent. Okay, and for washi to go on the back for sealing. Like I said, I don't have anything Dungeons and Dragons. I've got curse word washi, I've got sushi washi, I've got ink bottle washi, and I've got toilet paper washi. So, and I also have coffee washi. Do any of those sound more intriguing than the others? Ink bottles, okay. Some well-appointed desk ink bottle washi coming up. Okay, so hopefully that is showing, because that camera view, did I not go to the right camera view? Oh, there we go. You've got ink bottle washi on the back of the envelope. And then I don't want to show the dragon because that might show the address. That's harder to edit out. So that's another finished one. So then let's mark you as complete on the list here. So that is 11 letters out. Actually 13, because there's a couple people I wrote who I already had their addresses who are not on this. Maybe 14. So not bad in the past few days. So now what Nick was asking, let's try some random fountain pen-ish papers in the typewriter and see how they do. So I can say the Crown Mill stationery works great because I've already written some letters. Life Bank paper also works great. So let's see. Let me clear a little bit of this away to get a little bit more area to work with here, and we'll get some of the others in and try them. Okay. No, I can try that one now. That's what I'm looking for wherever it is in this stack of random notebooks slash paper in front of me. I had the pack out to put some. Here we go. We've got a pack of A5 Tomoe loose leaf. So let's see how it does. And I'll also, just for testing, Nick, I'll switch to the red ink as well and just kind of do the same typing a couple characters later so we can see if the red shows differently than the black, because why not? Okay, so that's fun. My ink ribbon completely just twisted, so even though it's on black, it's typing in red. So how can I even fix that? Okay, so that was a that is all gummed up properly. Well, let me just keep typing and see what it does. Okay, so let's take a look. So honestly, it works really well. The only things that kind of show a little thicker are the period, or like the period or the comma, and if the ribbon hadn't gummed up. So since we're done with the letters for the moment, let me see if I can do this. I guess that's the handy thing. When you have multiple typewriters, you can just pull out the, essentially pull out the spare and see what it does. So this is the 1935 portable version. It's also a Royal. So one thing that's interesting, both of these are Royals. They're 5 years apart, but the backspace is on opposite sides. So on this portable, it's on the right side. On this big one, it's on the left side. So I've almost hit the wrong button multiple times because I've kind of gotten used to the one. Everything else is in the same place, but for some reason they switched that around. But I think that's a decent enough test. So let me switch over to the overhead camera. We can take a look at this. Okay, so actually, let's see. If my fancy stuff I did last time will work. There we go. So this is the Tomoe 52. And you can see, I mean, the type is going on there fine. It fed through both machines fine. Now, these are new ribbons, and some of these new synthetic nylon ribbons are pretty wet. And since that one I put in the portable is brand new, it has not had a chance to kind of air out enough to kind of settle down. So you can see a little bit of show through from that one, but the red and the black on the first one that's, you know, had some more air time, it's fine. So, I mean, I would not hesitate to type on this, because if you think of some of the typing papers, like in the Yamamoto paper testing packs, some of that typewriter paper was really, really thin. So it should be working pretty well. But hopefully that answers what you were curious about on that one. That I don't know. I am still too new in the hobby to know that, but I'm sure there's custom ribbons that have different variety, because there's some places like some Etsy stores, and I think Typewriter Chicago, who they actually sent me the screw and part that I needed to repair that portable that I was just typing on. I think they have some like custom color ribbons, and then ribbons, from what I've learned so far, traditionally would either be cotton or silk. Now most of them that you're going to find are going to be nylon. And then, you know, depending on, I'm sure there are some that have kind of a document ink equivalent, but I would assume most of them are pigment based. I haven't really run water on any of these yet, but that's something else that as I get further into this hobby, I'm going to want to learn of what I can and can't do with different typing. So, you know, that kind of, you know, that's what I got for now on that one. So we think, which camera here do I have as a somewhat face camera? Because let's see. There we go. So I think I'm going to go on and wrap it up there. I appreciate you, joining in for the letter writing, and it was great that a couple of y'all had your letters written on the stream and got to kind of choose stamps and some of the other items. So that was really cool. So I'm gonna have to try and do that again in the future. I really like that, where people are watching and get to watch their letter be written. And now I'll take those out to the mailbox, and they should go out tomorrow. So be on the lookout, depending on how long it takes from Nashville to wherever you're located, for it to arrive, and hopefully they arrive in good condition. But once again, thanks for hopping on. And this was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I had the idea as I was rearranging some stuff of, wait, I could put my other arm over there and my other microphone, and that seems to have worked really well for what I wanted. So I appreciate it. So everybody have a good evening, and I will catch you next time. Should be next stream will be next Thursday evening with topic yet to be determined. So I will catch you on that one.